Today's video, we are going to talk about the add to cart rate by industry, what you can expect in terms of a rate of ad click to adding to cart or any other traffic source for that matter, organic click from Google to add to cart. What's the rate you should be able to honestly expect from the traffic you drive into your site? With that said, this all assumes, and I mentioned Google Ads up here, that you have qualified traffic that you're driving to your site, not a mixed bag of a bunch of random bot traffic or people who really aren't interested in what you have to offer already. That is, the ad that you used or whatever you used to drive the traffic to your site did not pre-qualify the user. That is, they already knew what they were basically going to get when they got to the website on a basic level would be offered to them there. And then from there, people are going to add to cart. I'm going to go into what details that is, quote unquote, by industry or by price point. You know, on the high side, low side, all of those details is going to be discussed on today's video. If you stay to the end of the video, I will have some different use cases to show you how much money you can make tracking actually add to cart in your ad campaigns that you're running, which is its own reason why you would want to actually pay attention to an add to cart ratio for any campaigns that you're running. I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in getting guaranteed results for their clients. We do not charge our clients management fees until we get more results on your campaigns in terms of profit before charging any kind of management fee, with the idea of which being the fee that we charge is completely offset by the increase in profit that we're going to bring your campaigns up front if we agree to take you on as a client. That's our guarantee to our clients. We're able to do this because I personally am the one doing the ad strategy on all accounts, which I've got 20 years of ad management and ad strategy experience and having worked on hundreds of different accounts and campaigns to get to the knowledge level of being able to actually guarantee results for clients, and of which you can guarantee results for yourself using the strategies I talk about on this channel. So with that said, I'll talk about a quick background as to what you should know about add to cart rates before you understand that and try to target a certain add to cart rate for your business. And then I'll get into the actual numbers that you can expect so that if you're going to track this, which you absolutely should track it on your site, what you should be going for, and then know where the ideal is and what the minimum you should be shooting for that is. So the title of this video, I will tell you right off the bat, is a little bit of a clickbait title. That is, the reality is the industry, and I did this obviously for SEO purposes. Most people want to know the add to cart rate for their industry. Their industry, it's irrelevant because like if you're in food service, your add to cart rate is going to be different if you sell cakes or you sell gourmet popcorn or whatever. It's more so about the product, not so much the industry. Now, there will be some general trends within an industry, but it's not enough to really, in terms of paying attention to your add to cart rate and optimizing for a certain add to cart rate, there's not enough information just knowing what your average is for a whole industry, which is why I broke this down for you to get your actual target that you should be going for on a different level and for different reasons. The reality is that an industry related add to cart rate is not relevant because it will vary so much within the industry that it's basically irrelevant to know what your industry-related add to cart rate is. So what does actually affect it? There's two main things that's going to affect your add to cart rate that you're getting from qualified traffic, as I mentioned before, that you drive to your site. Which, by the way, if you do want to actually get a real, more dialed in accurate answer for what you should be gunning for based on your exact product line, you can either leave me a comment in the comment section below and I'll get back to you, or you can just simply reach out to me confidentially at our site at guaranteedppc.com. I can not only tell you what you should be going for, but also give you a strategy to increase the profitability of your ad campaigns up front on guarantee, as I mentioned we do at our firm. Also, we can let you know if we've already worked in your niche market before. If we have, we can offer you the templates we have for your industry. That is, if you sell fishing gear, we've worked with a company that did that. You could take the winning ads, landing pages, all of it that we've developed for that market, copy paste it into your account and get the same results we were getting or still get for your company without having to go through all the trial and error we did. Of course, we charge a fee for these templates, naturally as you would want, because if we started giving it out to everybody, template would be worthless. But it's very modest and reasonable compared to the results you're getting, and more so the amount of money you're saving by not having to run all the ads the wrong way before finding out the way that actually works. And we got people using these templates, by the way, because they're so efficient, they're actually using them to start whole other businesses, whether they're selling leads, they wanted to get into another e-commerce business, and instead of randomly picking a product, which if they're not into making and manufacturing and developing new products, and they just want to sell existing products because they're good at marketing, they can use our template to start out with, have a template that sells that printer toner or sells that mattress really, really well, that they can just plug it and install into their campaigns, into their business with everything you need to do it, of which what we can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front. And this works because our client is in country A, you sell it in country B, it will pretty much work the same way in country B, and there's no conflict of interest. So anyway, if you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at Guarantee PPC. I can let you know the 200 plus niche markets that we've done and ran ad campaigns in e-commerce, non-e-commerce, local, national, and you can see for yourself the results that we got and what you would stand to gain using those templates. With that said, the two things that are going to dictate what your add to cart rate should be ideally, or range that you should expect your add to cart rate should be ideally, will be based upon these two things more than anything. One of which is brand identity. Of course, if somebody gets to your website and knows who you are or bought from you again, and they go back to your site, they're going to convert into an add to cart ad more than roughly 3 times the rate as they would otherwise. This also applies though if you're Nike shoes, Oreo cookies, whatever. If you got that kind of brand recognition in your space, and it could just not be like worldwide recognition, but that kind of level of recognition within your niche market. That is, if you're, let's say, buying concert tickets in your StubHub, your add to cart rate on the figures that I'm about ready to give you here should be, you just take it times 3, and that should be basically what you can expect there in that case. That you don't get these numbers and pat yourself on the back, when really most of the add to cart rate that you were getting had to do with they already just know who you are. When they trust you automatically like that at that level, you're going to have less friction in the process of getting them to add something to cart and then later on buy. So with that said, you got the brand identity and then also the cost of the service or product. And I say service because some people sell productized services, and it would all work the same way there. But with that said, the price of what you charge is going to be your main differentiating factor that determines if your add to cart rate can be 12% or it can be 1%. Or even a fraction of 1%. Okay. With that said, I'm going to go through these different price ranges where things I've broken down to, in which I went through all of our clients' data, which at our firm, we have dozens of clients that we service on an ongoing basis. And we've worked with many hundreds of clients in the last 10 years. We've got all this very good data. So I can give you a very good average breakdown of what your add to cart should be based upon the price of whatever you're selling is. With that said, starting off and right up at the top here, if you're selling something for basically less than $50, okay, ideal add to cart rate should be about 12%. And I know that still sounds low for something that frankly might be chocolate bars that you're selling for a couple bucks. You got to realize a lot of people get to your website, they weren't ready to buy anything that day. And you may say, why do they type in buy chocolate bars on Google and then get to my site if they're not looking to buy chocolate bars? That's just the way that people are. They love pissing away your time and your money. It's an aspiration of theirs to buy a chocolate bar. I want to use your ad money to try to, start to research it, but they didn't have anything. They for sure weren't going to buy anything that day. This happens. And the more expensive whatever you sell is, the higher the percentage of people have no intention of buying that get to your website like that. 12% should be where your ideal is, that you're shooting for ideally. On the low side, the absolute minimum should be 3%. And that's terrible. So that gives you a general idea of where you should be at for a product that you're selling that's at that price range. If you're selling something for between $50 and $100 now, you should be more so at like 9% add to cart rate, or at the very worst, or on the very lowest side, 2%. Now, if you're between $100 and $300, it drops again. As you can see here, this is the general trend. The more expensive what you sell is, the lower the add to cart rates you can expect and will be. $100 to $300, if you can't read it on the whiteboard here, it's 6.5% should be about where you should be, where we're at with the rest of our clients. And then on the very worst side, 1.5, which on this bad side, we're not even getting this. I'm just assuming this is what you're getting before any kind of optimization of your website, landing pages, that kind of thing. If you are totally clueless to conversion rate optimization, consumer psychology, how design how to instigate people to take controlled actions on your website scientifically and through experience. You should be more so on this low side, the bad side, than the good side. And can you make money on the bad side? Yeah, but you're not going to make very much. The really good money that you want to make, where you're going to scale a multi-million-dollar ad campaign for yourself yearly, multi-millions of dollars in sales at a profitable level or a profitable rate yearly, is on this good side, which is why I gave it to you. So with that said, if you're between $300 and $700 now, you should be more so at like 5% add to cart rate. Whereas on the low side, you should be at the very minimum 1% if you have a website that you shouldn't consider just demolishing and starting all over again, or landing page. Which, by the way, even if you sell e-commerce products, a lot of you guys should really be using landing pages, not sending people to the normal product page on your site if you have something that's even halfway technical that you need to explain. You can, of course, take a product page and make it look like a traditional sales landing page, like we have demonstrated on our website under our landing page portfolio, but still on your highest volume items that you sell most of your product on, you should really consider sending people to a landing page, which serves kind of like as a predestination that explains that product real well, and that when people want to buy, they can go to the normal product page on your site. We do this all the time. We do this for skincare products where you really got to do a lot of selling to make it really stand out from the competition and to sell the benefits to the user so they believe it. Water filters, stuff like that takes a little bit more convincing versus a 4.5-inch lock bolt, which you don't need a lot of convincing. Therefore, a landing page isn't necessary to make a profit from traffic driving to your site for that product. Now, for $700 to $1,200, you should be getting more so like a 3.5% add to cart rate. If you're doing things right, you are knowledgeable and or invested in a person who knows what the hell they're doing about making a design that converts or a landing page that converts, which, by the way, if a website that looks pretty is worthless. You need somebody who knows how to make a website look credible but converts. There's two totally different skills, making a website that converts and making a website look pretty. It's like anybody can make a pretty picture. Who can make a painting that sells for millions? That's a whole different skill, which is not the perfect the best analogy. Just the main thing is, for every person that can design a website, there's 1 in 100 that knows how to make a website convert like crazy. There's so many tiny psychological things that you have to know in order to lay stuff out, use white space, balance on the page, understanding flow, copy, and image balance, stuff like that actually goes into getting a high conversion rate. And generally speaking, it takes decades to learn all that stuff adequately. And the people who do know how to do it aren't charging $100,000 a year. They're charging several $100,000 a year because they literally gold bricks. Everybody wants them. There's more demand for that person who actually has that knowledge, and there are actual people that do the work, which is what, supply and demand. A lot of this, on the good side, you need to have somebody who knows how to make designs. A lot of it also, though, comes down to understanding the more content you invest in for your landing page or for your website, the better it's going to work. That is, investing in getting your product reviewed by influencers or celebrities, or get it featured on the news, which you can do nowadays. I've got videos that I made about this where you can pay Fox News to review your product on a new product section of the thing for 10, 20, 30 grand. And then because it adds credibility to the offer. Adding video testimonials to your whatever page you're driving them to, whether a product page by itself or a landing page. Also doing side-by-side comparisons of your product and all the competitors' products. That kind of thing, which doesn't go into the design layout and quality itself, but it's more so what I could classify content. So that can be a way to increase your add to cart rate. Really, where the magic happens is when you combine both the content, getting content that your competitors don't have, and then coming up with a designer who knows how to lay it out, which the magic and the reason why somebody can do, let's say, a 10% add to cart rate with one layout and design it with set content to use on that page, and 2% is going to be how the information is laid out, because if users get confused, it always hurts your conversion rates. What you're trying to do is get people to effortlessly digest all the information you want them to digest, that if they digest it all, they're going to be able to buy from you at a much higher rate. How do you lay it out so it doesn't fatigue the user? It's logical. Are you progressing the user from one level to the next in an ideal way? Because if you go through a sales pitch, you can't start out by mentioning what your testimonials are up front, obviously, and all that stuff, all that little stuff matters. Usually when I tell people, if you are serious about getting your conversion rates up on your site, start by getting all that content. If you don't know what content that will normally always pay, reach out, let me know in the comment section. I'll let you know for your business. And it's pretty much the same for any business. All the stuff that I mentioned, by the way, is basically the main stuff. Then you go to the best landing page designer you can find that money will buy. Yes, it's going to cost you 20 grand to make a fantastic freaking landing page. It will convert 2 or 3 times the rate that if somebody who doesn't know how to make landing pages will convert with the same stuff dimension on the page. So, and in the grand scheme of things, when you can make 100 grand a month in sales versus 40, just because the page is laid out differently, it makes no sense not to pay the 20 grand for the landing page. It just sounds expensive and it gets people to say, oh, I cannot pay that. At the end of the day, it's all relative. The G's that make millions of dollars marketing their businesses online understand it's simply a drop in the bucket compared to the return that they're going to get, and they are unemotional about their decision, and they just want to hire the best person for it because it will always pay for itself. Anyway, back to the content at hand here. Between $700 and $1,200 price point, 3.5% conversion or add to cart rate's good. Low end should be like 0.6. At $1,200 to $2,200, you should be at least 2% add to cart rate ideally, or 0.4% on the low side, and then $2,200 range, generally speaking, to $3,500, you should be at like 1% add to cart rate and 0.2% on the very low side. And then of course, I could keep going here. $3,500 to $5,000 should be more like 0.8% add to cart rate. $5,000 to $7,500 or $8,000 should be like 0.6, and it should just keep going and going and going. Naturally, once you get over to where you're selling something more than $10,000, it's hard to get people to go through your shopping cart because the average credit limit on a credit card is only so high. And yes, you could call the bank and get clearance on something and spend $30,000, which we've had people do. For our own businesses, we are also, our firm, but also myself, are investors in other e-commerce businesses, which we take the power of what we're doing here, add it to a business, and then take a revenue share and part owners of the business. And that's one of the things that we also do, kind of diversify our income. With that said, we're selling stuff for over $10,000. A lot of times people will have to call, obviously, first, and a lot of times they'll put the order through the phone on an order that size, but you can get orders that big going through your cart if you got a product and a website that looks convincing enough, because obviously it takes a lot of trust to convince somebody to just go straight through and spend $20,000 on a product without talking to you. Anyway, that right there gives you a general idea of where you should be at with your add to cart rate. If you want to know the little tricks on how to make your website convert better, you can also find all that information on a high level on this channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, you absolutely should if you are serious about getting the highest conversion rates on your stuff, because everything I learn about all the little hacks that get you to be able to do it, I give you for free on this channel. I spend 40 hours a week doing 2 things: making ads work more efficiently and getting landing pages and websites to convert better, to ease the job and burden we have of making ads work better, and tracking the results thereof, of course. But that's all I do. And everything that works and doesn't work, I give out for free on this channel. Of course, be able to attract clients to our firm legitimately. If you didn't not spend a dime with us and just replicated the stuff I tell you what works on this channel and did it relentlessly, you wouldn't even need to hire us. The people that don't have enough time to do it, they hire us, and that's it. And I actually love it when people go try and do the stuff themselves, realize it works, get to a point where they don't have time anymore, and then they reach out. That's our most ideal scenario for us, honestly. If you want to know all those tricks from somebody who actually knows them and really is in the trenches doing the work, which 99% of the other content on YouTube is going to be people that don't actually run any ads or run a firm and they get somebody else to do the work, which means they don't know anything truly. You're actually going to get the information from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad testing and ad strategy at our firm to give you what really works and what doesn't work. So if you're going to pay attention to anything, in other words, you want to pay attention to the information that I give you on this channel, so you should subscribe. You should also check out my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has even better information. If you haven't checked that out yet, you should definitely check that out as well, as I go through in detail the step-by-step instructions to roll out the strategies we're using to guarantee results for clients at our firm. But with that said, okay, like I said earlier, if this will help give you a general idea if you were shy on what you should be shooting for a reasonable add to cart rate that will be able to make ad traffic you're driving to your site convert in a competitive environment, which is why I gave you these goals. And it's helpful because particularly when you're selling something for more expensive, it will take you a while to build up enough sales data to know if you're on track with type and quality of traffic you're driving to your site. If you can track add to carts, you will get 4 times as much data soon after the same period of time has accrued. Naturally, you'll get more add to carts than you will purchases. So if you need really 10 purchases to know what your conversion rates are, and if those are on track after 2 months, you'll be able to get, the same feeling if you're on track in 2 weeks by using add to cart conversion tracking. Of which, by the way, you should track your add to carts anyway, and you should use the add to carts as a so-called micro conversion to optimize your ads before you have enough purchase data to optimize your ads using actual purchase level data and revenue and profit data, because you will get the data you need to steer the ads sooner in the process of running that campaign. I use micro conversions all the time, particularly when we have products where we're selling something over $1,000, because it takes a long time to build up that minimum 20, 30, 40 conversions in our ad accounts on whether we're talking about Google, Facebook, whatever, to actually use the conversion data to start peeling back parts of what we're doing that's not working and scaling up the parts that are. Eventually, when you get the 30, 40, 50 purchases though, then you stop paying attention to the add to cart data and you just use the purchase data, and that's fine. But it gets you to your end destination sooner. It gets you to initial break-even profitability with your ads sooner. Anyway, with that said, that pretty much sums up what I could tell you about the add to cart rate, what to expect, what to go for. If you're able to hit these numbers here, you should be able to be profitable with any ad campaign that you run on Google Ads or Facebook, where you're getting the right quality of traffic to your site already. You'll know your site and or landing page is good enough and efficient enough to make an ad campaign work when you start seeing numbers like this on the high side, on the good side, line up for your business. The only exception would be if you have ridiculously high shipping or something like that, and then people get to the checkout and they're like totally turned off because of that. But assuming you don't have anything weird like that going on, you should be jumping up and down for joy if you hit this this good side add to cart rate for your business with the product that's priced in the range that I mentioned for that number that I gave you here. If you want to know just how profitable this is, utilizing the add to cart data and how much sooner it can help you hit the numbers that you want. I mean, obviously, if you hit the high side here, you're going to generate 4 times as much revenue per ad click than you are getting the add to cart range on the bad side here. Respectively, we've had an ad campaign where we're using micro conversion data to optimize our ads with. We had a client. Typically, like I mentioned earlier, what will typically happen is the client will run their ads a couple months, get nowhere near the profitability they needed from their ads, say, hey, we're getting 150% ROAS on our ads. We need to get to at least 500 to make this profitable. Can we hire you to do this? And we'll come in. In that particular situation where we had apparel, we were able to add the add to cart tracking. Within 60 more days in the future, roughly speaking, 60 to 90 days, just having the add to cart data, we were able to get that up to 350% ROAS already, around 30 additional add to cart purchases. Well, so that 7 purchases by the end of that first 60 to 90 days, though, wouldn't have allowed us to scale that amount of ROAS that we were getting from 150 to 350 already, because 7 purchases really isn't much. But when you're starting to talk about towards the end of the process having, or into that time frame that I mentioned, 60 to 90 days, having 30 conversions, now you're already in position to basically see, okay, this device versus this device. In general, we don't want this device, or we want to spend half as much on mobile. Start to make serious decisions. So that gives you an actual use case, if you will, of how much the add to cart tracking can matter when you use it to specifically optimize your ads with. So hopefully that makes sense and was helpful for you here today, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said AD campaigns was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.